and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
For joining me today. There's a lot to go over. What a hell of a weekend. Very exciting weekend. We're going to talk about all the good things that happened this weekend. A lot of damn good things happened this weekend, but there's some good things happening right now that if you don't take advantage of in the next 3-4 days, you are not going to be able to participate in signing and helping us get rid of several different taxes and permits on floating devices and ending vote by mail. You're not going to be able to help us do that unless you get out there to one of our signature booths or our headquarters. And right now, I think the headquarters is the only place you can get to sign the petitions, and you can sign the end the death tax petition there. But we got a call out from Ed Deal and his group. They're pulling in all of those petitions. We got to send them in. So you got to sign them if you want to sign them right now. Carol and Elmer are at the headquarters. Tomorrow I'll be at the headquarters. And Wednesday we have another couple who'll be at the headquarters. That would be Gail and her husband, Doug. And I want to thank Gail and Doug for doing that. And I want to thank Carol and Elmer for doing that. They really help us out. 2 to 6 o'clock, those 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you can come out and you can check out or sign, I should say, our petitions. And they're going away, folks. They're going away. I don't know if we're going to get some new ones, but I do know that several of these petitions they're done. They're by February 3rd. If they're not turned in, if we don't have enough signatures, it's over with. It's over with. The game is over with. And that's what we're doing. And by the way, if you don't know where the headquarters is, it's at the New Republican spot at 93677 Newport Lane. That's right. 93677 Newport Lane. If you're heading south on 101 south of Coos Bay, right before the Allegheny turnoff, stay in the far left-hand lane, and instead of going across the bridge into Allegheny, turn left, and that street is Newport, and our location is right there. You will see our sign. It says Republican headquarters on it, and you can sign the petition there, and I highly recommend it because they're going away, folks. I also want you to let you know, Matt from 3H Tree Service, he had just texted me and said they're done for today, he thinks, but if he does go out again, he may start up Where's 3H Tree Service. So they're not playing it yet, but if they do, he's going to give me a text and let me know that they're playing Where's 3H Tree Service here in Coos County. And that's a game that we play every Monday. 3H Tree Service will let people know that they're going to be out in a certain area in Coos County. And if you're the first one to find them, you can win the prize. Well, he didn't get to do that today, but he may do that during the show because he was considered going out for a second time because it's beautiful outside. It's beautiful. It's June on the southern Oregon coast. And I don't know about you, but this weekend was just fantabulous. I had a great time. I want to thank the president for being so freaking cool. The guy is just so absolutely cool that this is what was happening yesterday. This was the main event. There he is, our president, Donald Trump. And of course, Dana White. Dana White was there yesterday at the White House. Did you guys get to see it? I don't know. I got to see it. Let me know if you're watching and you're in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what you think. What did you think of the fights? I thought it was just freaking fantastic. That last bout, man, that was great. That was some good stuff. And let me tell you a little bit about it. The main event last night, June 14th, this was yesterday, Flag Day. Of course, we'll be celebrating our 250th anniversary on July 4th. This was at the White House last night. UFC Freedom 250, a historic mixed martial arts card held on the South Lawn right there. And you can see them, our great President Donald Trump hosted the unprecedented event to mark up America's upcoming 250th anniversary, Freedom 250, which also coincided with his 80th birthday and Flag Day. There was a flag wave out at the boardwalk, but I think so many people had things to do and wanted to hang with their family. I don't think it went well for either side. We'll talk about that later. But key highlights, there were 7 bouts, and all 7 bouts ended in knockouts or TKOs. Oh, it was kick-ass. If you didn't see those bouts, man, that was some good stuff. It was I was on the edge of my seat screaming, hit him harder, hit him again. Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff. In the main event, Justin Gaethje, great American fighter, represented our country well. He defeated Ilia Topuria via 4th round TKO corner stoppage. To become the undisputed UFC lightweight champion. Someone in this corner just threw in the towel, literally threw in the towel and said, screw it, we're not going to go any further. Other notable results included Gain defeating Pereira by a 2nd round TKO. That was really great. Gain literally beat the hell out of that poor guy. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I wouldn't want to get in the ring with any of those men. Even the featherweights. Well, first off, they're way younger than I am. But these guys are professionals. They are badass, and it was really cool. I know so many of them. They were representing their country, and they're very proud to represent their country. And that's what was cool about Justin Gaethje. He was representing us, America, and he was the underdog. He was the underdog fighting against Topuria. And Topuria, if you saw this guy, I think I got a picture here. Let me see if I got a picture here. There's the fight. Isn't that beautiful? How classy. That was so much classier than what Biden did 2 years ago. Remember what he did, the topless trannies at the White House a couple of years ago? How disgusting. No, this was a great fight. And Topuria, Ilia Topuria there, he's a very good looking guy. He's very chiseled. He's not so chiseled anymore. No, he got a little flattened, especially his eyes. His eyes are probably hurting this morning. As you can see, it was quite a matchup, but Gaethje was the underdog in this. And well, what can I tell you? He kicked Topuria's ass, and it was exciting. Let's see, First Lady Melania Trump, their family, and UFC CEO Dana White watched from cage-side seats. The event drew thousands of invite-only guests on the South Lawn and a large public viewing party on the Ellipse. It was widely described as a spectacular, one-of-a-kind spectacle at the presidential residence, and that was reported by New York Times. There were issues, other developments yesterday with the Iran-Contra. We're going to talk about that as well. But, man, this was great. This is how a president is supposed to celebrate the country. This is how they're supposed to deliver to the people. It was great. I hope they made a lot of money. It seems like somebody should have made a lot of money. There were a lot of advertisers like there. They were every spot that was available had a sponsor on it. So I don't know if our tax dollars, if any of our tax dollars were spent on that. I just didn't happen to look that up. I guess I was so excited about that fight and that knockout by Gaethje that, well, I don't know. I just Didn't ask that question. But there are other things that are coming up, and that is the Iran talks, the U.S. Iran talks. We were talking about this on Friday on my show. We were talking about how the president has gone from Venezuela to take on the Mexican cartel, to take on Cuba, to take on Iran. And of course, all this is to defeat China and its ever forward march towards taking over America and inducing communism from within and from without. So this is some very good stuff here. Before I go to this, let me go to some comments. Before I go to this, I got some comments here. TJ says Michelle Obama is a man. Yeah, I heard that. That was great. That was freaking hilarious. Who said that? Oh, the guy who flips everyone up. You know, that was the only. I was supporting Lewis over that guy, and I can't think of his name now. He's always flipping everyone off. It was hilarious. I don't know if you've seen his fights before. The guy's kind of funny. But I thought Lewis was going to kick his ass, but he didn't. Lewis, once again, was a TKO. And that gentleman got to speak at the end, you know, because he was the winner and he got to shake hands with the president. But he got up there and he said, oh, yeah, and Michelle Obama is a man. I thought that was just, well, freaking funny. And Hezekiah says, I was too busy watching the crazy far left at the boardwalk. And yeah, I don't know. I heard it was they didn't have too many people show up. I don't think our side too many people showed up, but I don't know. Ashley, hello, Ashley. Ashley from Roseburg. Hezekiah says President Teddy Roosevelt would have gone in the ring. He sure would have. He sure would have, not wound have, but that's all right. I know those damn spell checks thing. They just always get there. And of course, Ashley says, I heard UFC spent $60 million. Wow, that's a lot of money. I bet you, though, they made it back up in sponsorship. I'm willing to bet even Turning Point USA had a sponsorship there. Every single place around the White House had a name on it. And that's okay. That's capitalism. You know, that's all right. People go, oh, no, we're selling out. Believe me, selling out it's not selling out. You're just participating in the capitalist market. People are funny. You're such a conformist. You're selling out, man. No. It's capitalism. It's okay. Hezekiah says Pakistan is heavily influenced by the CCP. And that's true. So if you see this picture right here, this is French President Emmanuel Macron. Yes, he's an abused husband. His wife likes to abuse him on a regular basis. Yeah, she manhandles him pretty good. And of course, there's U.S. President Donald Trump, and nobody's going to be manhandling him. And Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. That's the guy, Shehbaz. Hey, Shehbaz. Shehbaz, she does, she don't. I don't know. But this is the summary of the latest update on the U.S.-Iran talks. As of June 15th, today, the background, I'm going to give you a little background in case you don't know, in case maybe you were hiding under a rock. The U.S. and Iran have been locked in conflict since early 2026, triggered by tensions over Iran's nuclear program, Israel and U.S. strikes on Iranian targets, and Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global oil shipping route. This led to the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. A shaky ceasefire took hold on April 2026, initially 2 weeks later, extended indefinitely by Donald Trump, with Pakistan playing a key mediator role through the Islamabad talks. Islamabad, I don't know, but they were talking. Key developments. There was a deal announcement on June 14th, yesterday, when the president was celebrating his birthday. Yes, that was Sunday, June 14th, his 80th birthday. President Trump announced on Truth Social that the deal with the Islamic Republic of Iran is now complete. He authorized the immediate removal of the U.S. naval blockade and the toll-free opening of the Strait of Hormuz, famously adding, ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif simultaneously confirmed that a peace deal has been reached, including the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Iranian officials, including the deputy foreign minister, confirmed that they had reached a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, to end the fighting. That's right, an MOU. Somebody sent out an MOU. Well, it's better than, not having an MOU. It's better than being DOA. If it was DOA, it wouldn't be very good, but this is a good thing. And of course, the leftists are criticizing our president, our good president. Why are they criticizing him? Because they called it a war. I don't know if the president even said in his interview that I played a couple of weeks ago, or that was last week that I played that. The president said that he even called it a war. I don't know how much of a war you can, our last war, we had a war with Iraq. That was bad. In Afghanistan, we had a war with Afghanistan, the 20-year war with Afghanistan. It was a generational war, which started over 9/11, and 9/11 was because a bunch of crazy terrorist Muslims drove their planes into our buildings in New York City. And what did we do? We fought really hard against these people for 20 years against the Muslims, only to run like cowards out of Afghanistan, leaving billions of dollars of equipment and a base behind. And I think to prove that they won in Afghanistan, we now have a Muslim as the mayor of New York. That's right. Muslim as the mayor of New York after 20 years of fighting and running like cowards out of Afghanistan. Pretty disgusting. Makes this military action by this president seem pretty miraculous, wouldn't you say? Yes, it hasn't been that long at all, and he's already got himself a peace deal. But main terms of the preliminary agreement. Here are the main terms: 60-day ceasefire extension to allow further negotiations, reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran will clear mines restrictions. The U.S. ends its naval blockade. Full reopening is expected upon formal signing. End of hostilities, immediate and permanent halt to military operations across all fronts, including Lebanon. Framework of future talks addresses Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, and regional security. Major nuclear issues, full freeze or dismantling, are largely deferred to the 60-day period rather than resolved immediately. So that's going to be ongoing negotiations, and the no large upfront U.S. cash payments. Sanctions relief is described as performance-based. That's right. If you're going to do anything in business, make sure it is performance-based. Don't lay down the money. Don't write the check until you see the service or the product that you're paying for. But the formal signing ceremony is scheduled for Friday, June 19, 2026 in Switzerland. Geneva reports vary slightly by source, and that was from Axios. Current status, June 15th update. Trump speaking alongside French President Macron, if his wife isn't beating him, at the G7 summit in France. Stated the deal is all signed and that the strait is already partially opened, with full reopening expected Friday after signing. And of course, that's coming from Al Jazeera. I'm sorry, that's a hard word. That's a hard one to say. Yeah, there it is. Let's share this. Let me see. Let's get this out of there and share my screen here and get that out. That was Al Jazeera. They are just a propaganda machine for the Muslims. And this right here, Al Jazeera. I forget who owns Al Jazeera. I can't remember. If someone remembers, make some comments. Let me know. Let me know who owns Al Jazeera. But markets reacted positively. Of course they did. We're going to talk about that. Oil prices dropped, like we said, and the president said they would. Reported around $80 a barrel. And stocks surged on expectations of stabilized global energy flows. The deal is viewed as significant de-escalation after more than 100 days of conflict. That's all, not 20 years, not decades. No, not even a year, just 100 days. And he's already got a He's already got a treaty, a ceasefire and a treaty coming. Though it is preliminary framework rather than a comprehensive final peace treaty, nuclear details remain vague and subject to further negotiation. Trump has referenced verification, blending of enriched uranium and alternatives if talks fail, which means they may just start blowing up things again. You don't want that to happen, Mr. Iranian people. Our president's worked real hard on this. I don't know. He's worked real hard on this. You mess with him, he's just going to blow the crap out of your country. I mean, more so than he's already has. But uncertainties and reactions. Full text of the agreement has not been publicly released. Questions persist about enforcement, compliance, monitoring, Israel's role, especially ongoing actions with Lebanon, and how nuclear issues will ultimately be resolved. Iran has framed parts of the outcome positively, ending the blockade, while Trump has highlighted it as a diplomatic win achieved from a position of strength, which is true. You can't do nothing unless you are in a position of strength. And some analysts note it returns the situation closer to pre-war status on shipping while buying time for deeper talks. And of course, they're going to criticize him. The Trump administration is actually moving forward. He's doing something, and anything he does is bad because, well, he's Donald Trump, and they have Trump derangement syndrome. This represents the most concrete progress toward ending the conflict since the April ceasefire. Developments could evolve quickly ahead of the June 19th signing. Watch for official statements from the White House Iranian officials. And of course, Al Jazeera there, like I said, this is a propaganda rag for the Muslims. And it says Iran and the United States have reached an agreement to end more than 100 days of war, settling the stage for detailed negotiations on the Iranian nuclear program and sanctions relief. So that's what they're reporting there on their website. So that's yep, we deserve it. I hope you could hear me, Marilyn. I put your comment up. I don't know if you could hear me. I wasn't on stage, but I made a good comment saying, "Hey, Marilyn, I did have a good day. You had a good day too." In case you didn't hear me, and Hezekiah says the IRGC cannot be trusted. Well, none of them can be trusted. Trust but verify. That's I guess I should have put that comment on the page there. That would have helped, huh? That would have helped. Yes, it would have. My scrolling just isn't so good. There you go. There's that comment. And Hezekiah also says, turns out Osama bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan the whole time. Yeah, remember that? There's his other comment. Turned out Osama bin Laden remember that in Pakistan, just on the other side of the border. Yeah, and who was the guy? O'Neill. It was Rob O'Neill. I think that was the guy went and inserted lead into his head. He helped Osama bin Laden with his assisted suicide. Yes, it was a lead poisoning incident. Ezekiel says, Qatar government, of course. And Steve Nye says, if a person has a spine and conviction, they can actually make changes. Yep, if they do, the Qatar government owns Al Jazeera. Oh, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Steve Nye. Oh, by the way, Steve, thank you for joining us. Haters will always blame others. Thick skin is so important in leadership. Yes, it is. And remember that. And it's also important in leadership because sometimes leadership fails. And you're going to fail. We're all going to fail. I've failed many times in my life, and I've learned more from my failures than I've ever learned from my wins. Yes. And Hezekiah says, your face is gone and you went quiet. Oh, okay. I thought I did. So luckily I repeated that comment for Marilyn and Doug Farrell. Okay, Hezekiah, now it's Doug. Al Jazeera is owned by the Qatar government mint. Interesting. Very interesting. But what does this mean for you? What does all this mean? What does it mean? I don't know. What does it mean? As of June 15, 2026, latest available market data. And this is what it means for you. Crude oil prices have dropped sharply following news of the U.S.-Iran peace deal and the expected reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Current benchmark prices, this is U.S. Per barrel, WTI crude oil prices 80.40 cents to 80.60 cents. Brent crude oil, this is the international benchmark, is $83 to $83.10. That's really good. That's actually not bad. That's, if you can get oil between $60 and $85, that's probably about the perfect price. These figures reflect intraday trading on June 15th, with both benchmarks down roughly 4.8 to 5.2% from the previous close. And this came from Trading Economics. And intraday trading is when they're betting short on quick moves in the market. Quick context here: the sharp decline is directly linked to the U.S.-Iran agreement announced on June 14th. This is what the experts are saying, which is expected to ease supply concerns and allow more oil to flow through the Strait of Hormuz. Prices had been significantly higher in recent days, weeks amid conflict-related disruptions. These are future spot benchmark prices used by traders and reported across major financial platforms: Trading Economics, oilprice.com, and Bloomberg, etc. Actual prices paid by refineries can vary slightly by grade and location. Just so you know, just in case you're going to buy a bunch of oil at some point. But key observations from the graph, and this is a graph I want to show you here. This is a graph of the oil prices, and let me put the prices up on that. There you go. That's much better. And as you can see, in February, oil prices per barrel was $62.14, which is great. That's great for the consumer. Not so much great for the oil industry, because they got to have a reason. They have to have an incentive to, pull that stuff out of the ground, that black gold. They got to have a reason to pull it out of the ground. Otherwise, they're going to leave it there. And if it goes under $50 a barrel, it's really, they don't have any incentive to do it. It costs more to pull it out of the ground than it does just to leave it there and not worry about it at all. And of course, if they do that, it drives prices back up. It's a crazy thing, the market, but that's capitalism for you. But here's some key observations from the graph. And this goes from February 2nd to June 15th of 2026. That's this year, in case you're living under a rock. Early February 2026, it was around $62 to $66 a barrel. That's the optimal price for consumers. 62 to 60. If we could keep it at $62 to $66 a barrel for the next 2 or 3 years, which is, impossible because it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. If we can keep it around that average price, we'd be doing great. The economy would start really taking off. But prices were relatively low before major escalation, I should say. Late February, March 2026, sharp rise as the U.S. imposed the naval blockade on Iranian ports in conflict intensified. Prices climbed above $90 and spikes towards $100, as you can see. By April 2026, high volatility around the initial ceasefire, which was happening on April 7th. Prices peaked at near $113 before easing somewhat. May 2026 remained elevated, mostly $90 to $108 range amid ongoing tensions. June 2026 dramatic drop after the U.S.-Iran peace deal was announced on June 14th. Prices fell from the mid-80s down to the mid-80s by June 15th. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. This is good stuff. This is really good for you and me. We are going to benefit from this. And I don't like wars. Nobody likes wars. This is something that I've been fighting against most of my life. I marched against the Iranian war because when we went into Afghanistan, it was under the guise to go after the terrorists who took down the Twin Towers. I could understand that. And then all of a sudden they started a war with Iran and it just got crazy. But unlike our President Trump today, the last presidents of the past, starting with W. Bush, and of course, Obama, they were weak-kneed presidents and they didn't get the job done. And President Trump does get the job done. Why? Because he knows what has to be done in a situation like this to make sure that you kill the beast. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to kill that beast. Iran is the beast and he's trying to take it out. Craig Cheney says Qatar is a house of vipers, not the best of allies. No, they're not. No, they're not. But Craig, let me tell you something. We can trust in the fact that these guys in Qatar are just as human as everybody else, and they're greedy bastards. Okay? All right? Stick with me. They're greedy bastards. And they make a lot of money on the oil trade, and they got to keep that trade going. And Iran is screwing with them. And this is part of the reason why the Arab Emirate left the Arab banking cartel, oil cartel, I should say. They left the oil cartels, and they're on their own now, and they're with the U.S., and they're pumping more oil than ever before. And of course, now they got a new nice pipeline that it's at maximum pumping level. They're getting a lot of oil out of there. And yes, they're vipers and we can't trust them, but we can trust the fact that they're greedy. They want money. They don't like it that they live in the middle of the desert, okay? And they've got to pay for all those beautiful buildings they built. Hell, they got to pay for the island that they built to put those buildings on. So they're dependent on us like a junkie, okay? So we can guarantee that, like a junkie, we can't trust them. We certainly can't trust them with money. We can't trust them with any responsibility, but we can trust them to always need us, and we can use that to our benefits. And so that's what, of course, the president does, because the president knows this, because he's been in business, and that's how you wheel and deal in the real world. And Steve Nye says yes. And yes, it is. Yes, absolutely it is. And that was some good stuff. That was some really, really good stuff. Congressional scrutiny hits Oregon. I'm going to change the subject here a little bit. This was something from a letter that came out. I believe it was from Ed Deal. I'll read it. I'll read the article and we'll find out what the hell's going on here. But let's see. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Yeah, let's see. There you go. Uplifting Journey. You heard about Uplifting Journey LLC? Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you a story about Uplifting Journey. They're kind of like a Leering Center. Steve Nye says, Rob, your feed is repeating the same sentences over and over again. I've tried to reload, but no successes. Okay, Steve, is this on YouTube or Facebook? I don't know why that's occurring. And if it is occurring, there's really not much I can do about it while I'm on the air. But let me know if that's still happening. If someone's on YouTube and that's happening on my YouTube channel, please let me know. Or is it Facebook? Because you're commenting to me on Facebook. So I really don't know. And it would help me if you would tell me. Hezekiah says, probably on Facebook, you're fine on YouTube. Oh, okay. Well, as long as I'm fine on YouTube, what the hell? So I don't know, Steve. I don't know what's going on Facebook. Facebook has been really weird lately. I've been having trouble posting things. I've been having trouble connecting between my streaming service and Facebook. I don't know. It's a pain in the ass. That Mark Zuckerberg. But you know what Mark Zuckerberg did last night at the main event? There was some veteran. He was blind, and he had Mark Zuckerberg created these glasses where it has AI and it could tell this guy where he was going. He could hold up a paper. And the glasses would read for him. This is so cool. We are living in such a beautiful world. We're living in such a beautiful world where we are eventually, if we don't kill ourselves, we are going to find paradise on earth. I don't know. But Zuckerberg gave every blind military person, I believe that's what they said, every blind military person in the United States, a pair of these glasses. That's badass. Good for you, Mark Zuckerberg. Good for you. Now, of course, you do know that even though that's a good thing that he did that for all these blind people and they could choose to wear the glasses or not, they're really going to be pulling in a lot of data from those glasses. You know, anywhere those glasses go and everything those glasses see, I bet you all that's just downloading to Zuckerberg's mainframe there, and he's just gathering data and intel on all these blind veterans. I don't know. I was hearing that, and then my wife threw that out at me, and I thought, ooh, honey, that's a good one. That's a good conspiracy theory. Mark Zuckerberg, he's getting all our military intel by selling, or he didn't sell, he gave those really expensive AI glasses to all those blind veterans. What a good thing. It just worries me. So, where was I going? Oh yeah, here we go. Congressional security hits Oregon's Medicaid program over fraud concerns, including a troubling case involving a sober living center. A sober living center. Yes. Yes, that's pretty much anywhere my parents lived. Their home was always a sober living home. They didn't need a center. There was a whole sober living home. Anywhere my parents lived, or most of my father's family, they were all very sober. They're teetotalers. They didn't really drink or smoke or do anything bad. Very good people. So I don't know. We didn't have to pay for sobering living homes, but apparently they did, and there's some fraud going on. And of course, tonight we're looking at a developing story about a taxpayer money healthcare for low-income Oregonians, and serious questions about fraud in the state's Medicaid program. Of course, that's the Oregon Health Authority. Don't question my authority, damn it. On March 3rd, 2026, the U.S. House Committee on Energy and Commerce, a powerful congressional panel, sent a formal letter to Oregon Governor Tina Kotek and the head of the state's Human Services Department. The letter demands detailed answers on how Oregon is protecting its Medicaid program, known as the Oregon Health Plan, from fraud, waste, and abuse. The Oregon Health Plan, that's where you get the Department of the Oregon Health Authority. Don't question my authority. And why this matters. Why does this matter? You wouldn't think it matters, but it does, because it's your money. That's what happens in socialized medicine. See, if there's a doctor scamming people, only the people who go to the doctor get scammed. But in a huge federal program, when a huge federal program gets scammed, that means all of us taxpayers get scammed, and that's why this matters. Medicaid is a joint federal state program that provides health coverage to low-income people, including children, seniors, people with disabilities, and those struggling with addiction. In Oregon, it covers more than 1.3 million people and costs about $15.3 billion a year, much of it paid with federal tax dollars. And I wonder how much of that goes to pay for sex reassignment surgeries. I wonder how much of that goes to pay for abortions. You know, they call that woman's reproductive care. That's bullshit. I call it baby murdering, but whatever. The committee is worried that some of that money is being stolen or misused. I can guarantee it's been stolen or misused. I would bet a C note on that one, and I would win. I tell you. They point to massive fraud cases uncovered in Minnesota and other states involving fake billing, identity theft, and services that were never provided. No, they want to know if Oregon has the same problems and what the state is doing about it. The letter gives Oregon until March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, 2026, to answer 10 detailed questions about audits provider screening, payment monitoring, and how the state catches and punishes fraud. And we'll get into what the state responded here a little bit later as I keep reading. But a key example that raised red flags, an uplifting journey. That's this place here that you can see on your screen. An uplifting journey. Yeah, it was uplifting. I went there on drugs and I left there on drugs. Yes, it's a great place to go. And for that failure, I'm sure we gave them a lot of money. Yeah, but one case the committee highlights involves a company called Uplifting Journey LLC. This company operated a sober living home in Lake Oswego, basically a house where people recovering from drug or alcohol addiction could live while getting support, according to the letter. And earlier reporting by State Representative Ed Deal, the company received $2.3 million in Medicaid payments in less than 1 year. The home was later linked to members of a violent Venezuelan gang called Trende Aragua. I had it when I was reading it earlier. Trende Aragua. Yeah, that's from Venezuela, a Venezuelan gang, as if there's any other kind. One resident was charged in Washington state with kidnapping a woman, drilling into her hands with a power tool to steal her pin, robbing her, shooting her, and leaving her for dead. Nice people here. After police calls and concerns about the house, the operation was suddenly abandoned, trash bags and mattresses left behind. The founder later started another similar company that quickly got approved to receive Medicaid money because, of course, only in government can you fail upwards. The committee is asking Oregon, how did this happen? Well, I can tell you how it could happen. They're a bunch of freaking thieves, but I digress. Were proper background checks and site visits done? And what steps is the state taking now to prevent something like this again? Other Oregon cases mentioned included a mother and daughter indicted for forcing immigrants to work for almost nothing in an adult foster home while billing Medicaid for extra care hours, of course. A woman sentenced to federal prison for stealing identities and submitting over $3 million in fake claims for addiction counseling. A nursing home that settled a $2 million after providing substandard care. An urgent care chain that paid $490,000 for billing Medicaid for unnecessary COVID tests. Imagine that. Who would have thought somebody scamming us during COVID? We never would have seen that happen, huh? And of course, here's Oregon's response. And by the way, this goes back to a case all the way in March. And this was an Oregon Roundup. The guy who does Oregon Roundup reported on this story, but this has been back in the news since March of this past March. COVID test. Can you believe that? $490,000 for COVID test. This is your money, folks. This is your money, folks. Let's see. Also, we got Oregon's response. Let's see, before we turn the page, it says Governor Tina Kotek did not stay silent. Of course, you couldn't get her to stay silent unless you gagged the bitch. But in mid-March of 2026, she sent a letter back to Congress and issued a public statement pushing back hard. She said the committee's concerns were based on misleading claims. Oregon, she argued, already has strong systems in place to catch fraud early. These include checking providers before they can bill Medicaid, risk-based background check, and site visits. Well, of course, using data analytics to spot unusual billing patterns, suspending payments when fraud is suspected, and auditing providers and terminating bad actors. Because, you know, there is no fraud in our Medicaid system. The same thing is true about the voter rolls. They're not dirty at all. That's why we got 800,000 unnecessary names in the voter rolls. There's no problem there. Don't believe your lying eyes. Do I get any comments here? Marty says Aquafina a la Venezuela. Aquafina a la Venezuela. I'm sure I said something dirty there in Spanish. I'm sure I did. Zeki says those systems are not going to catch fraud. I know, not at all. They act like we're stupid, and some of us are because we keep putting up with it. Kotek pointed to real results between 2021 and 2025. Oregon recovered more than 159 million in improper Medicaid payments. Well, if you caught them, that means they're happening. So how do you know they're not happening again? But the state's Medicaid Fraud Control Unit brought in another 54 million and secured 43 civil settlements or judgments against fraudulent providers. She emphasized that the Oregon Health Plan, otherwise the Oregon Health Authority, is a lifeline for more than 1 in 4 Oregonians, and said the state is committed to protecting both patients and taxpayers. Oh, bullshit. Oh, excuse me. What has happened since the letter? Well, what has happened? Well, let me tell you what has happened. This goes back to, like I said, March. As of mid-June 2026, here's the latest that we know. An uplifting journey had its ability to receive Medicaid payments terminated by the Oregon Health Authority on September 24th of 2025. The day after Representative Deal sent his own letter demanding an investigation, the related company, started by the same founder, also had its enrollment ended later that year. Surprise, surprise! The physical house was already the physical house was already abandoned by the summer of 2025. There have been no major new public announcements of criminal charges specifically for Medicaid fraud against Uplifting Journey itself, though the gang-related criminal case in Washington moved forward separately. That's kind of interesting. They're convicting people for this problem, the gang problem there in Washington. Not so much in Oregon. No, we don't do that here in our state. The Congressional Committee has not yet held additional public hearings focused specifically on Oregon. The national investigation into Medicaid fraud continues across multiple states. The bottom line, this story is really about 2 things: accountability for taxpayer dollars, especially in programs that help the vulnerable people, and how well states are actually watching who gets approved to provide services and bill the government. Oregon says its systems are working and points to hundreds of millions recovered. Critics, including me, and some state lawmakers, say there are still serious gaps, particularly in how quickly suspicious providers get approved and how thoroughly they're checked. For everyday Oregonians, this means real money that could go toward health care for kids, seniors, or people in recovery might instead be lost to fraud. Could be. Congress is now demanding answers. Finally, then the public will be watching what comes next because we have nothing better to do. That's the situation as it stands right now. Do you feel better? Do you feel better? I don't really feel better. And this was just one of those crazy Leering Center stories that I had to keep up on, and hopefully we'll get more from that. I don't know what to tell you, folks. This is just sad how this is going. Oh, hey, look, my mom. Hi, Mom and Dad. This is my mom and dad from New Mexico, Farmington, New Mexico. Hello. I hope you're all doing well. We got to see the fight yesterday. Yeah, your grandson, my kid, he bought us the ability to watch a pay-per-view to watch the fight. It was good. I am Solomon says nothing to see here. No, it isn't. Nothing to see here. Nothing. No. And nothing has come about it. It's like the Oregon Health Authority. Don't question their authority, Ham. How dare you question their authority? How dare you? How dare you indeed? Yeah, we don't want to.
You should have respected my authority.
You should have respected my authority. Last week, I showed you a video of 2 people collecting petition signatures. And it's for one of the petitions that you don't want to sign, IP28, which would stop hunting and fishing and raising animals for meat and butchering animals. And unfortunately for Kyle Cox, you won't be able to breed animals anymore, which is probably a good thing because he's an animal breeder. He actually breeds the animals, but that's a whole sick story. And you can watch more about that from Friday Night Rants. But this guy, his name is Geyer, from the Geyer Show. Gosh, I can't think of his first name. It's not coming to me. No, I don't see it here. I don't see it here. I'm going to share this tab. And this young man is he's really kicking butt. This is his Twitter account. You should follow him. This is from the Geyer Show, Geyer Digital. And I've been following him for a little while here. He's a media personality from Portland, but he had that video that he had from those people gathering signatures from another country for IP28. I don't know if you saw that, but it was just amazing that he did that. And I showed that video and I re-showed it. I showed it last Monday, and then I re-showed it because it was such a funny video that I re-showed it on the Friday night rant because we had Rob from Base and Tackle, otherwise known as Doug Washington, on, and I thought he would definitely have something to say about that. But Geyer has actually got a second video out, and this is going to be an interesting video as well. You'll like this. And after watching this, first, share and like this show right here. If you like this podcast, share and like it too. But if you like the video you're about to see and you like that video I showed before, the Geyer Show, go and like and share his media. He's on Facebook and on Twitter, but you just got to check out this video.
Which one?
The two petitioners getting confronted at the Sunday market. Mm-hmm. That was me.
That was you? Oh, you're Geyer.
Did you know that your organization's being funded by Russians?
There is a guy from...
Yeah, that's nice. You're on public property, sir. You're okay.
Please, nope.
You feel about foreign intelligence trying to invade into our elections? He turned his badge around. That's okay. He's afraid of something. Why are you hiding something if you're not...
Please leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you.
How come?
Leave me alone.
How come, sir?
I do not want to talk to you.
But how come?
I do not want to talk to you.
You wanted to talk to me when...
I do
until you found out who I was.
I don't want to talk to you.
How come, though? How much are you being paid? $25 an hour? How's that $250 sign-on bonus? There's pepperoni on that pizza, but it's not about the meat. It's about harvesting people's data for a foreign intelligence agency from Russia. You know, eventually you're going to go to prison for this, right? Not you. Yeah, we're great. We're okay. That's okay. I'm on a public property, ma'am.
Sure. Tension.
There's no tension. I'm totally fine. What's going on?
Oh, just...
I don't appreciate being surrounded like you just surrounded me. That's kind of awkward.
No. Come on over here, please.
Sure.
Noticing a little bit of tension from this area and just wanted to...
Somebody walked over and grabbed you.
Maybe we're feeling uncomfortable.
Am I feeling uncomfortable?
No, some people are feeling uncomfortable, so I just wanted to come chat with you. I'm Lucinda.
Okay, I'm Geyer. Nice to meet you.
Geyer, nice to meet you. Is there anything I can do to help kind of...
Nope. What's your name, sir?
Pete.
Pete. Nice to meet you, Pete. I'm Geyer.
Yeah, good to meet you.
I'm sorry, I'm confused with kind of what the energy I'm picking up from you.
Energy you're picking up from me? What energy are you picking up?
Was there a confrontation or what was
I don't see a confrontation. I'm just asking him questions and he refused to talk to me as soon as the camera was pulled out and he found out who I was.
Okay.
That's all.
Maybe we can take it out of the market, just so that we don't...
I'm on public property. Can he take it out of the market? Does he have a permit for this space?
Actually...
He doesn't have a permit for this space. This doesn't make this private property just because you have a permit. See, I understand my rights. I understand his rights as well. Is that it?
Yeah, I think we're going to all take a walk.
Yeah, I've got like maybe 10 minutes left in my parking anyways. Okay. I'm going to enjoy my pepperoni pizza. Thank you for having this market. It's a great market. You've got some great vendors here. And thank you for coming up and talking to me.
What a very polite young man, this guy. I really like him. I think you guys should follow him and check him out. Hopefully he produces a lot more of this kind of video because he's up in the area where you can catch these crazies. Down here, it's hard. It's hit and miss. What can I tell you? We live in a nice area. But that was happening, and it's pretty sad. And in case you don't know, if you're out gathering petition signatures and say you go to a farmer's market or you go to some event and it's on public property, it's a public event, and they try to tell you, oh, you can't be here. That's BS. You have every right. You're petitioning. You have a right to walk around and ask your fellow citizen, would you like to sign this petition? And if someone comes up and says, oh, you have to be removed because this is a private event and we permit it for, yes, you permit it for it, but you invited the public. I'm the public and I'm here. And just like Geyer was saying that he doesn't have a permit to petition, the guy he was filming, Geyer doesn't have a permit, nor does he need one. This is a free country, man. I don't know what the leftists always forget that when they start getting filmed. They always forget that when they're losing the argument. All of a sudden, it's not so free. We don't have so much freedom of speech anymore. And so thank you, Geyer, for capturing that. Really good stuff. Let me get back to some of the comments. Marty says 130 million watched the UFC match, the White House, more than the Super Bowl. Marty, it kicked ass. I don't know if I just love boxing. I'm a big, I know people are going to, I love professional wrestling. You know, I was a big fan of the Kaiser. Remember the Iron Claw before it was a movie? I used to go watch that guy in Dallas with my uncle. He'd take us out to the wrestling matches back then. And we'd watch the Von Erichs tear the hell out of the Freebirds and stuff. Really great stuff. But this was great. UFC has really taken mixed martial arts to the next level. And I love watching this stuff. And by the way, if you're a sports bar, there's a local sports bar that we go to. They don't allow UFC or boxing to be played in their sports bar. And all I got to say to you, if you own a sports bar and you won't let the UFC or boxing be played in your sports bar, then you're a bunch of pussies, okay? I just wanted to put that in your face to the person who owns the local sports bar who doesn't allow UFC fighting or boxing on your TV. He loves the old golfing and he loves the old baseball, but not so much the fighting. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know, but be a real American and put some boxing on in your damn sporting bar. I know this because I asked them. They said, "Oh no, I don't like to put the fights on. No, we don't want people getting violent in my sports bar." And what the hell do you think boxing is? Or MMA? People are stupid sometimes, aren't they? Well, Hezekiah says more like a dystopian bill. Yeah, it sure was. And Marty says share at Geyer Digital on X, and that's where you can share that from if you want more videos like what Geyer's got going on. For those of you who missed out this weekend, we had a crowd gather. I shouldn't say we because I wasn't there. I was doing other things, but there was a crowd gathered at the Floats for Freedom event to challenge permit fees. Now, I was just up in Eugene and we were at Cabela's. And I was walking by Cabela's and we were looking at the kayaks and I thought, wow, it'd be really cool to own one of those. And I thought, well, if I bought one for me and my wife, and I'd probably want to get one for the kids, so they could go with us to go kayaking. That would be four kayaks. We then would have to get permits at $50 a pop. So that'd be $200 on top, whatever the hell the kayaks cost. I'm thinking, why even bother going? Just forget it. I hate Oregon. I really hate Oregon. So I hope this crowd that gathered, they really did something good. But they're what they're doing is they're protesting this. This is paddlecraft enthusiasts are protesting restrictions on waterways by taking their vessels onto the water. On the Clackamas River, crowds of people lined up to launch kayaks, paddle boards, and inflatable boats to float down the river on Saturday. The event is called Float for Freedom. Organizers said it is a constitutional right to access Oregon waterways. And I would agree with that. Yes, the outrage started after a new expansion of the 2020 waterway access permit went into effect in January. It requires all non-motorized paddlecraft to carry a permit, which is freaking stupid, you damn liberal Oregonians. God, I just like to grab you by the throat. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that on camera. But I'm sure this just should tick you off. If you got a beating heart in your chest and you're reading this crap and you got kids and you're realizing how much this is costing our state, You should be damn angry about this. And if you're not, I don't know. It's not me, man. It's not me because I'm angry. It's you people who are not angry. That's what people say. Rob, why are you so angry? My question is why are you not angry? This crowd should have been an angry crowd. I don't know. But Hezekiah says, you're really pissed off at that bill. I am. I'm really pissed off at that. Well, it's not even a bill. It's a law. It's a law, Hezekiah. It was a bill that became a law. And I want to find out all the people who voted for that bill. I should have gotten the names of all the people who voted for that bill. And if there's one Republican, if there's just one Republican on that bill, we're going to call them. Next week, I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do, Hezekiah. Next week on this podcast, I'm going to find out who voted for this. And if one Republican has, I'm going to call them while I'm on the air. And we're going to chew them out. Just, thought I'd, say that. Craig, hey, thanks for joining us, Craig Cheney. That shouldn't have been a stream-only event. How many subscriptions do we need to sign up for? I don't know what to say. Samantha says, according to the Article 6, that bill is notwithstanding. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't sound constitutional to me. But then again, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't have the money to hire one. So this was a story. This was a good story. And I got a friend who, I'm not sure if he's still a port commissioner in Port Orford. His name is Brett Webb, and he's a damn decent guy. He's always been very supportive of some of the things that we've done here. And we don't always agree, but that's okay. People have differences. And I saw an article that he shared. He didn't send this to me or anything, but I saw him. He shared this on Facebook. So I thought it was very important. And I wanted to talk about it because, I read it and I saw this story. Excuse me 1 second. Sweet tea, nectar of the gods. Yes. But I saw this story that my friend had posted, and I read it and I kind of got ticked off. I was a little ticked off with the Trump administration because I thought these were probably good things to have in the water, these ocean observatories, they're little buoys. I shouldn't even say little, they're good sized buoys. I'll show. I think I have pictures of them here, actually. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. There's one of those buoys. This is one of those buoys, but this is part of the story. And I don't know. I was reading this, and it's one of those things where I could see both sides of the argument, but I'm going to read it here to you. The Trump administration, via the National Science Foundation, or NSF, is descoping, scaling back the Ocean Observatories Initiatives, the OOI, a network of sophisticated buoys, moorings, gliders, and sensors that has collected real-time data on ocean conditions, chemistry, ecosystems, waves, and climate-related variables since around 2016. And of course, this goes back to a law passed a couple of years earlier. These include a coastal endurance array off of Washington and Oregon. And I think I even got that map. Let me see if I got the map of that coastal array. Here we go. Right there. This is the coastal endurance array off of Washington, plus arrays off Alaska, North Carolina, and the Erminger Sea southeast of Greenland. Most in-water infrastructure from these is being removed by September of 2027 with equipment warehoused, and the regional cabled array off Oregon, focused on seismic and seafloor monitoring along the Cascadia subduction zone, is continuing. This is reported in the New York Times. Reasons given by the NSF Trump administration. The NSF has described the move in bureaucratic terms rather than providing a detailed public justification or specific cost-benefit analysis. It aligns with NSF's wider strategy of nimbler approach to prioritize support for evolving scientific priorities and emerging technologies, as well as smart life cycle management within its research infrastructure portfolio, meaning that the emerging technologies, they may have technologies that they didn't have in 2016. I don't know what that is. We'll continue reading. Maybe they'll say in the article. It draws partly from a 2025 National Academics of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine report that recommended reviewing the OOI to ensure it meets ocean science community needs and suggested reevaluating the overall fundamental premise of large fixed assets as a research backbone given changes in ocean observation capabilities. It follows proposed major budget cuts. The Trump administration's FY 2026 budget request include an 80% cut to OOI funding and broader significant cuts to NSF overall, such as 55% in some reports. NSF had previously warned that such cuts would risk abandoning 205 million, that's 100 million, 205 million in infrastructure and ending long-term data collection. Wow, 205 million, that's a lot of damn money. And those things, once they're pulled out of the water, they don't do so well. Here's another picture here of the buoys. That's one of those buoys. And we got them right off the coast of Oregon. It says the official May 21st, 26 NSF announcement on the OOI site was brief and focused on the operational plan, removing infrastructure from 4 arrays while keeping the cabled array and data center running without elaborating on the why beyond the above framing. Let's see, this is from oceanobservatories.org. No high-profile direct statements from Trump or top White House officials appear in coverage. The action is implemented through NSF, an independent agency, though its budget and leadership are influenced by the administration. Some reporting links the broader effort to Project 2025 recommendations, which criticize NOAA's climate-related research as alarmism and called for disbanding much of it, though OOI is primarily NSF funded, not National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. That's NOAA. Yeah, that's part of the problem may be that these were being used to promote the green weenie agenda. I don't know. These, because there are some fishermen who do find an advantage to this. I'll continue reading here. It says, important note on the National Academia's report, the academias themselves later clarified that NSF cited their 2025 report inaccurately. The report actually praised OOI's success, said it could help address urgent research questions, and recommended continued funding for core components supporting key priorities. It suggested a separate revisioning exercise, not abrupt de-scoping tied to renewal. And that comes from the National Academias. Is there a good reason? That's the question I ask. Is there a good reason for this, even if not explicitly given? And the stated reasons are quite vague and high level. A stronger case can be made on fiscal and strategic grounds, but significant counter arguments exist. Plausible supporting arguments, cost control, and life cycle management, because while these things are expensive, OOI has high ongoing operational costs, roughly 40 to 50 million per year for ships, maintenance, and etc. After a decade, some assets may need expensive upgrades. Decommissioning parts and warehousing equipment reduces immediate spending amid broader federal budget cuts. So, you got to ask yourself, this has only been around since 2016. Some fishermen were bitching because this is gone. And part of the reason they like it is because, well, it observes ocean quality. Like if there are oxygen depleted waters, I forget the term for that. Let me read on here. It says technological shift. Ocean Observation is evolving toward cheaper, more flexible tools, autonomous gliders, drones, satellites, commercial data sources. So like I was saying, there's probably new technologies and other tools out there to measure it instead of these expensive buoys run by the government. Large fixed moorings buoys may no longer be the most efficient backbone, as the academies report hinted. Redirecting funds could support newer methods. Prioritization, keeping the cabled array valuable for earthquake, tsunami risk monitoring in the Pacific Northwest, shows some selectivity. Resources could theoretically go to other NSF priorities to more targeted ocean work. Broader policy context, the Trump administration has pursued cuts to federal spending in certain climate and environmental programs. Skeptics of expansive climate monitoring may view long-term ocean data collection as lower priority or prone to alarmist framing. Yeah, that's the problem, because anytime the water changes, of course, the climate changers, the green weenies are going to scream, "Oh, see, look, there's proof the world is warming. No, here's more proof the world is freezing." And it's like, yeah. You got data. Sure, you got the data, but does it mean what you think it means? And here are the counter arguments to not taking these buoys out of the water. It says irreplaceable long-term data loss. These systems provide continuous high-resolution real-time data on trends, temperature, oxygen, CO2, chlorophyll waves, harmful algae blooms, etc., etc. That sporadic or new tech observations often cannot fully replicate. So I guess the newer data isn't better. It's better to have the buoys, but then they're like costing 48 to 50 million a year. This data supports fisheries management, maritime safety, wave info for crab fleets, ecosystem monitoring, and climate science. Breaking the time series is scientifically costly. Wasted investment and poor execution. 368 million was spent building the system designed for 30 years. And of course, it's only been around for 10. Warehousing equipment, risk deterioration, because ocean equipment doesn't last very long or very well when it's taken out of the water, per one fisheries biologist. And anyone who knows anything about taking this kind of stuff out of the water, this doesn't last. But scientists and some lawmakers describe the process as sudden, lacking broad scientific review or consultation. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Practical impacts: loss of real-time data affects coastal communities, fishermen, and Marines. Yeah, we do. But then again, it's only been around 10 years. So are we going to miss it? I doubt it. And it's going to save 48 to $50 million a year. I don't know. I'm starting to think it was the right thing to do for the Trump administration. The academies and many researchers argue ocean observing infrastructure remains critical on oceans changing rapidly. Marine heat waves, El Nino effects, which, by the way, they say we're going to have El Nino problems this year. The El Nino is going to be real strong. I remember in New Mexico, they used to act like El Nino was this huge Mexican gang that was going to ride in and rape all the women and steal all the horses. It's the El Ninos. The El Ninos are coming. Oh no, run, hide the children. Batten down the hatches. The El Ninos are coming. The El Ninos. Yes, they want to scare the hell out of you, especially those green weenies, at any time they can. But the opportunity costs of abrupt action, even if they shift to emerging technologies, make sense. There's little public evidence of a detailed transition plan or replacement capabilities being stood up simultaneously. Oh, well, maybe we don't need a replacement plan because we didn't have it before 2016. But the bottom line, the Trump administration's NSF gave only high-level strategic sounding reasons without transparent details on cost saved versus value lost or specific replacement strategies. And I don't know, we can pretty much build that argument ourselves. Fiscal restraint and adapting to new technologies are legitimate policy goals, and the cabled arrays continuation shows some nuance in that. However, the move appears driven significantly by budget-cutting priorities, which it should be, and reduced emphasis on certain environmental climate monitoring programs, which, once again, yeah, they're trying to create the case for socialism, and they're doing it through the New Deal project. The Raw Deal project, as I like to call that. And I thought that was an interesting story, and that's why I kind of wanted to cover it. Very good stuff. It was kind of like one of my old radio days. I got a bunch of papers out on this. Let's see if I got anything. On the Friday, let's see. Let me go over these comments, and then we'll talk about the Friday night rant. Let's see. Hezekiah says, bet you DBS probably voted for it. I don't know. I'd be willing anything bad that man voted for. And of course, he'll say, I voted for it because I was against it. Kind of like the wind turbine things. Yeah, I was all supporting it because I was actually against it. Yeah, that's why I did that, because I'm playing 4D chess underwater. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Ashley says, I thought it's just one permit to 2 years on the person using paddle boards or kayak. I bought it with my fishing license. I didn't vote for it, but I still paid for it. Yeah, I know. That sucks. Samantha says, you don't need a lawyer to figure that out. The government doesn't own water. Sorry. Well, tell that to the government. Joe Coley says, beware of Brett Webb. He claims to be a nonpartisan, but he's a far more left than right. I've known him for 25 years. Lost all respect about 8 years ago when he moderated me off his PON and V Facebook group. And Brett Webb, like I said, I don't always agree on every issues that Brett does, but he does like his guns. He does like supporting the Second Amendment. So I do like that about Brett, but you don't always have to agree with people. And I watch everyone pretty closely. I watch everyone. I'm just suspicious. I got suspicious mind there, Joe. But that's just me. And Hezekiah says Oregon state senators who voted for that terrible bill. Oh, wow. Nobody trusts anybody here. Nobody. If you're in politics, we're not going to trust you. And Hezekiah says Fred Gerard, Dick Anderson, David Brocksmith, and Daniel Bonham all voted for that. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Dick Anderson, you're such a dick. You voted for this bill? Man, that just stinks. Wow, they voted for this bill. I'll tell you what. Yeah, we're going to do something next week. We're going to have some fun with these jerks because I'm just really ticked off about these people. They voted for this. I wonder if they knew we had a petition. Well, I guess they wouldn't because we didn't have the petition until after the law was passed. But man, it just ticks me off. I wonder if he knows that. Doesn't that just frustrate you? This is the kind of politician we need here in Oregon. This is why we're sucking our load in Oregon, because we don't have any good politicians in the Republican Party. I'm going to be backing Christine Drazen for governor. Sure, it's it just doesn't feel like it's all that exciting, but I'm going to be backing her for that. And, what can I say? It's Christine Drazen. She's a Republican. She'll probably be better than Tina Kotek. Gosh, I really hope if she wins and she's not any better than Tina Kotek, I want to apologize up front. I want to make my apologies. Please forgive me. Because this is scary, but we need someone who's really exciting. Here's someone who's exciting, so exciting that he didn't even get out of the primary and into the general, but yet he's still making videos that make me want to vote for him. Tell me what you think.
My mission to save Los Angeles is coming to a close, and I'm moving on to the next, more interesting phase. Listen, I've spent a lot of time slaying everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster, and I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take the chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. You think you can get rid of me that easily? I know a lot of dim-witted jerks thought I was in this for a grift, that I was going to roll up and leave town if I didn't get into City Hall.
It's just not fair.
Hey, morons, I didn't get in this for political power. I got in this to expose this corrupt machine, and nothing has changed. You enjoy your worthless meetings in City Hall.
Listen, you have all this information. You're running for mayor. Show what you're really about, or get the fuck out of the race.
I'm going to be lighting you up every single day, and now I don't have to worry about offending CNN viewers. I don't have a campaign laws hamstringing me now. It's war. It's 0 hour for Los Angeles. Angelinos are now stuck with two morons responsible for all their problems, and they have to choose between Dumb and Dumber. Hey! That's not a choice. That's the machine protecting the machine. And now every problem that plagues Los Angeles because of these two corrupt communists is going to accelerate. And the city will tumble headlong into the abyss. You have no idea how many major developers, hoteliers, business owners, entrepreneurs have been texting me saying they're packing up and leaving town. More of your favorite restaurants will be shuttering. That means less tax revenue. That means the city has to cut services, more potholes, less firefighters, less police patrols, more criminals, more drug addicts terrorizing your communities. And we haven't ended it. You have no idea how bad things are about to get for this city. Look at this place already. Weeds growing from every crack and crevice, graffiti over every square inch of public space, garbage, drugs, feces, burned up dogs, burned down towns, abandoned storefronts. This city is a mess, and you're about to reward the arsonist who torched the place with 4 more years of destruction? I know he's very bitter. My goal hasn't changed. I've been laser focused on stopping these commie animals, and I will stop them. If you think we uncovered a lot of fraud and evil in the campaign, just wait. We have some recordings of one of your exalted candidates doing and saying something that would make her resign in shame. I was saving it for the general election. Go ahead and pick your demon, certify your choice, and then you get to see it. So Karen Nithya, ask yourself, is it possible that one of your employees may have a recording of you doing or saying something that would force you to resign in disgrace? Hope you sleep well at night over the next 5 months, because you know who hasn't slept well at all for the last 17 months? My mom. All my neighbors in the Palisades, all the moms who worry about their kids walking past drug addicts in front of their schools, all the business owners getting crushed in the LA economy, worried that they can't stay in business and feed their kids. Angelinos have been struggling for years now, all while corrupt politicians and fraudulent NGOs profit off the misery and fleece us for the tax dollars. Well, now we're flipping the script. I want all of you awake at night sweating and worried about 5 a.m. when the FBI blazers bust in the door, breaking open your office, because I assure you, they're coming. You think your election was going to stop me? If you want to stop me,
you're going to have to fucking kill me!
You're just going to have to effing kill me. Yep, that's pretty much where I'm at. You think you're going to stop us? No. And we do have Monique Despain. Someone put that up. We do have Monique Despain to support. So that's a good thing. And Samantha says, didn't No Good Deal vote for the paddle fee? I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know. Stephen I says we have Monique Despain. Yep. And Marty says, I want to make a video just like this about my run for clerk. Yeah, I think that'd be great. You should do that. That would be really cool. I'd love to see that. Ezekiel says, never mind, DBS didn't vote for it, but the Dick Anderson definitely did. Dick, you're Dick. What can I say? And Brandy, hey, Brandy, good to see you. We'll have to get you on the show. We had a really good idea for a show, and we're going to have her on. This shouldn't be court-forced to completely rerun that election. Statistically impossible results should never be accepted. They should be court forced to completely rerun that election. They should. It's just, like I said, even the perception, it took weeks after the election to finally find out what happened in the election. Yeah, we're going to find out not on election day, a month later. Yeah. And of course, Doug says we looked up the actual vote recorded for HB 2982. Yay, Yunker, Deal, Mark Owen, Court Boys. Nays were Fred Gerard, Art Robinson, DBS, Thatcher, Drazen, Virgil Osborne, and Scarlitos. Okay, I'm going to double check that. I just have to double verify, but I'll take your word for it. It probably is. You're probably right. That's probably the thing. Let's see. I did get some mail. If you don't mind, you want to open up some mail with me? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Let's see. This is from, you're going to love this. This is why you shouldn't vote for this guy, because he obviously doesn't know how to spend or budget money. This is from David Brock Smith. You see that? You know, David sent me an urgent campaign update enclosed, and he sent it to me, Rob Taylor, because he knows, I don't know what he knows, because I think this is stupid, David. You shouldn't be wasting your money sending me anything, because I'm sure this is going to be asking me for a donation. And here it is, of course. And here's this. Look at this letter in here. This has got to cost a lot of money to have sent this out. And I wonder who he sent this out to, but he sent it out to me, and I'm not a fan of David Brock Smith. I'm not going to vote for him, much less give him any money. But of course, here He goes on blathering on, David Brock Smith. Send me money. I need some burgers. Look at me, I'm fat. Somebody gonna pay for my fatness. And yeah, what a pathetic buffoon, David. So here's David. I should put this in here. Let's see. Is it? Oh no. Place a stand. This is how cheap David is. He should have, if this was already paid for or prepaid for envelope, I'd put this back in there. But after putting on the words FU DDS, douchebag senator, and then I'd put it in there and send it back to him. But since I'm not, I don't plan on giving him any money. So there you go, David. Good use of our money. Well, look at this. I got a letter from the clerk. Look at this. The Coos County elections. I don't know what she said. What do you think it is? I don't know. I'm kind of excited. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. That would have been cool for one of the guys. If they, one of those tough guys at the UFC fight yesterday, they would have made that their theme song. That would have been cool. All their theme songs sucked except for one. Say one. But most of their theme songs sucked. And I don't know why these guys haven't you ever heard of Ted Nugent? Haven't you ever heard of Judas Priest? I mean, get some rockin' songs for your opening song. But I got a letter from the clerk. What does this say? Oh, let's see. Oh, look. I think I got an actual certificate. It says June 10th, May 19, 2026 primary election. Dear candidate, that's me, Rob Taylor. Congratulations. You have been elected to the position of precinct committee person. Well, that's funny. I was running for God. You mean I didn't win the position of God? I was running for God. Jeez. For more information about when and where the Central Committee meetings are held and the duties of a precinct committee person, reach out to your local party chairperson. That would be Chris Castleman because he rocks. Or contact information as listed below. And this is from Lock Blocker. This actually isn't from Julie. This is from Lark. Lark is really cool. Lark should really be the county clerk. She's really good. I'd vote for Lark, but the Democratic Party chairman is Garrett King. That's that guy. And of course, they got Chris Castleman on there. You see that's on there. So that's really cool. It's official. Look at there. I got my certificate. Woo! I'm a PCP on PCP. That's right. I'm a PCP on PCP. No, I'm not. That's a joke, folks. I'm just joking. I know someone out there is going to use that clip. See, I told you he's on drugs. He's smoking crack and using PCP. No, that's not true. I'm just celebrating because I am a PCP. Look at there. Isn't that cool? And Julie Brecky signed it. She even signed it. Wow. I feel so special. Let's get to some of these contacts. Marty says the DOJ has been on top of the LA election since long before it began, and that's a good thing. We're going to see a lot of things coming out because of this LA election. Yep. And they says they knew what was going to happen and put operatives in place to have been collecting data. Sorry, I had to go get new glasses and I'm using my readers and it's just not quite working for me. Marty also says, I got my Coos County letter today as well. Yay, the Coos County. Marty's a PCP member too. Woo! And Precourt Payne says, hey, old man, right back at you, Precourt. Come to the meeting on Wednesday. So let me share this page. Let me share this. Let me put it up on stage. There we go. Here we are. And let's see. Let me see if I can make this larger. Can I make this larger? No. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about it, but you can probably read it. Hello, PCPs. That's me now. I'm one of the PCPs, not on PCP. That was a bad joke. But hello, PCPs. Please join us at 6 p.m. on June 24th to elect a new executive committee that will lead us through the remainder of the year. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to be fair to everyone, not like that last group, Michael Brainerd and company. And by the way, he was forced to pay for the court fees. He didn't have to pay for our attorneys, which was a much larger fee, but he was forced to pay for the court fees. Why? Because he lost. He's a losing piece of garbage, and he kept people out of the party. And that meant people here who are Republicans in Coos County, you didn't have a representative in your precinct. Why? Because Michael Brainerd's a dirtbag. Well, we got rid of that guy, and we put Chris Castleman in charge until the new election. So we got a new election, which happened in May, and I've got I showed you, there's my letter. And so we're having an election. And the current positions, Chris Castleman is the chairman, Jeremy Miller is vice chair, the secretary, Steve Nye, the treasurer is Daria, the delegate is Danessa Rains, first alternative delegate is Daria, and of course we need a second and third alternate delegate. Let's see if you would like to be considered for any of these positions, and you should, because there's a lot of people really who have been involved with this party. Linda Johnson, you and your husband would make great additions to the executive board. I'm not going to run because they were accusing me of trying to take over the party. That's what they were saying. They were saying, me and Chris, you're going to get in there and we're going to take over the party because, we're nefarious control freaks. But that's not true. That was farthest from the truth. So I'm not going to run for the executive board because I don't want to be in control of the party. I just want the party to be a fair party where everyone is treated equally inside the party. But if you would like to be considered for any of these positions, you must be nominated at the meeting on June 24th and will be given the opportunity to speak to the group. You do not have to be a PCP to be nominated, but you must be a registered Republican. If you'd like to get information out of the group ahead of time, feel free to email the chair, Chris Castleman, and it gives the email right there with information about your candidacy and qualifications, and I will send it out prior to the meeting. You would still have the opportunity to address the group at the meeting. And we will be grilling burgers. This is happening at our new headquarters right there, Central Committee meeting, electing new officers, June 24th, 6 to 8 p.m., where at 93677 Newport Lane. And so come on down. We're going to be having that meeting. It's going to be really kick-ass. What can I tell you? Because, well, we're new and improved Republicans, and we just kick ass. It's just the way we are. Hey, Precourt, you got to come down to that meeting, man. We got to get you down there. I'm not sure where you're not a PCP, but we can appoint you as a PCP. And come on down to that meeting. Maybe you could run for one of those positions. I don't know. You feel like being a delegate? You feel like being a vice chair? Maybe the secretary? I don't know. And then, if we can get you on there, you get one of these fancy certificates. See there, your fancy certificate. I'm gonna put that on my shirt somewhere. I'm gonna staple it to something. Yeah. But Precourt says, I'll be there, bud. What time and day is it? This Wednesday, starting at 5:30, we're going to be having burgers and good stuff. So get there around 5 o'clock on Wednesday. That's a good time. And I'll be there, and we'll be having a good time. It ought to be good. And Precourt says, would love to get involved. And there are a lot of people who would love to get involved. And we got to keep people, we got to give people choices. We got to give people choices of candidates to run for those executive committees, because the more choices, the better qualified people that you have to choose from. And that's always a good thing in pre-courses. Sounds good. Yep. So those are some of the things that are happening this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. I will be back on this Friday for the Friday night rant. And I think what I'm going to do this Friday, I think I'm going to do the Friday night rant live from the headquarters. And if you want to join me this Friday, be at the Republican headquarters around 7 o'clock. And we will be doing the rant at the headquarters. And everyone is more than welcome to show up. Even the Republicans, the Democrats. Who's this? Garrett King. Yeah, Garrett King, you're the chairman. maybe I should give him a call and let him know. You can come on down and join us on a Friday night rant, and that would be fun. And this Wednesday, the 24th. Oh, I'm sorry, not this one. Next Wednesday. I'm sorry. Shit, Precourt. Where was the date? Where did I have that? I was sharing the screen. That's what it was. I'm sorry. I got the date wrong. Not this Wednesday. Next Wednesday, June 24th. I read it right. I just said it wrong when I was talking about next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Not this Wednesday. Next Wednesday. But this Friday, I will be doing the show live from the headquarters. Why? Because I'm crazy. Yeah, that's all I can come up with when people ask, well, why would you do that? Well, I'm crazy, and I'm looking for a little bit of fun, and people have asked me to do this. They said it would be a blast to have a live audience come down there. The last time we did it, nobody showed up. It was sad. It was just me and Marty at the headquarters. But this time we're going to try it again, and it'll be me and Marty. I'll call and see if Marty wants to shoot down to the headquarters. I don't know. He may not. I don't know. And we will do this live Friday night rant, and hopefully you people can show up. Maybe we can get Doug and Gail out there. Maybe we can get Carol out there. That would be fun, and I'll have it set up so we can talk to different people during the podcast. So that should be happening. And hopefully I get a couple of views. I need to get Joel Skousen on the show because we need to talk about geopolitical issues that affect us here in Oregon. People might ask, what does the price of tea in China have to do with Oregon? Well, it has to do a lot, folks. It has to do a lot. You ever had to have a cup of tea? Well, then the price of it is concerning to you, and it affects so many things. Who would have known the Strait of Hormuz, that little bitty channel on the other side of the world, controls our life more than most things in the world, huh? And that's sad. It's really sad. So, what can I tell you? We're doing better. Things are going along well. And before I get out of here, I want to thank the people who helped me bring this show to you. Not my private email. No. Here we go. Here we go. 3H Tree Service. For all your tree service needs, 3H Tree Service, LLC, they're licensed and they're bonded. You can reach them at 541-294-1800, 3H Tree Service for your tree removal, tree trimming, or lot clearing. And they can remove those trees with surgical precisions. And he is a accredited arborist. Free estimate. If you want to give him a call, you can do that today. And he hasn't gotten back to me on where's 3H Tree Service. So I don't know if they're doing that today. They may not be doing that, but you can give them a call at 541-294-1800 and find out what it's going to cost you to get those trees out. And they can come and they'll do it with, like I said, surgical precision. And you'll never know they were there because they clean up after themselves quite well. Very good people. And of course, Tom and Gigs for all your lift kits and performance accessories. They're at 135 South Shoneman Street in Coos Bay. You can reach them at 541-888-4660. That's, by the way, they're in the Empire neighborhood behind the car wash. And if you know where the Empire neighborhood is, you probably know where the car wash is. Right behind the car wash. Look for that green awning. They're experts, installation, quality products. Your ride is worth it. And they can do your shocks, struts, alignment, all that good stuff. They can tell you if your car is travel worthy. That's Tom and Gigs at 541-888-4660. And of course, Herbal Choices, my choice of herbal dispensaries, Herbal Choices for all your cannabis needs. And they have 5 different stores in the area, one in Charleston, one in Bandon, one in North Bend, one in Coos Bay, and one in Reedsport. Yes. And you can find out more at their website at the herbalchoices.com. Once again, that's herbalchoices.com. And you must be 21 years or older to get into the store. Just to get into the store, you should be 21 years or older. Anyone under 21 shouldn't be smoking pot. But if you're over 21, your ID is required at Herbal Choices. And remember, it is a drug, folks. So do not drive under the influence of marijuana. Do not handle heavy equipment. And for God's sake, don't give it to children. That's wrong. You have to be 21 years or older. So that's just some advice. And by the way, if you're having problems in life because you have a lot of bad habits, you had a lot of expectations and your expectations didn't turn out, so you were disappointed. And because you were disappointed, you turned to drugs and other bad habits. Maybe gambling, sex is your bad habit. I don't know. I don't know what your hangup is. Try some abstinence. Just abstain from all those bad choices that you keep making. And that's my shtick for today. Until I see you next time, folks. You know what I always say? Carry on, Coos County. Carry on.